Welcome to The Art Box, your podcast dedicated to exploring the vibrant art scene in Nevada and beyond. Join us as we embark on a journey through galleries, theaters, studios, public lands, and streetscapes, meeting the artists, curators, archaeologists, nature lovers, and cultural influencers who shape our creative community and our world. Whether you're looking for your next cultural adventure, seeking inspiration for your own artistic pursuits, or simply curious about the world of art, tune into The Art Box. Together, let's open up a world of creativity and imagination. Let's dive in.
Dreams, what if the night is about you and me?
This is Steve from The Art Box, and I'm excited today that I have Bill Wright with us, and he's certainly one of my favorite local actors.
Well, thank you.
And you have such a presence on stage, and particularly, I think maybe the first time I ever saw you was in a melodrama. And I love those melodramas.
Yes.
Oh, my goodness. Where are the melodramas? The melodramas got to come back. Bill, how did you start?
At least this time, this go around. When I say this go around, I won't go back in history.
Oh, I'm going to take you back to history before we're done here. So
Well,
you can go this round.
Okay, this round, let's start with when I retired from the Army in 1993. When I lived in Utah, I got out of the Army, I had to get a job, so I went to work. But the church I attended would have dinner theater at Christmas time, and we would do a variety of different kind of shows. I played The Servant of a Wise Man. One year we played a Victorian-era play where I was dressed as a noble person, in a robe and everything. And so that's kind of how I got involved. They would do readers' theater, where I would have a script and I would read a part against another person. We would do impromptu little religious skits kind of deal. And so that's kind of how I got started actively more so. But then when I retired in 2013, got more involved. And when I moved to Mesquite in 2016, closed on a house in 2016, now I'm retired from the Army as well as my second career job in public transportation. So I had time on my hands to do something. And I was a caregiver. And so my wife had some medical issues. And so the theater and singing was a way for me to just get out and continue to enjoy life free of the responsibilities for an hour or so. And so that's kind of how it was an outlet. And the wife gave me, as I call it, a house pass. So I had a house pass so I can go out and go down to a center or wherever and rehearse or get involved, volunteer to be in a play. So I think last count roughly I've done since 2016 probably 11 or 12 plays.
Wow.
A little singing in some, but this Bye Bye Birdie is big time. A lot of singing.
So this is testing your vocal cords.
Yes, it is. It is testing my vocal cords. But that's kind of how I got involved once I had all this time on my hands. It's like, what am I going to do with it? You can only sleep so much, work out so much, so why not get out there and stretch your limits and use your gift in a positive way. So that's kind of how I got started, like I say, in 2016 when I moved to Mesquite. So,
well, this town thanks you because you add quite a bit.
Well, thank you. Yeah.
And you say you get a house pass, but when you guys start a play and you start rehearsing, you're there like almost every night, aren't you?
Correct. That was a challenge.
I'll bet.
My wife was in kidney failure, plus she was a diabetic. And so those two things together really limited her ability. There after a while, the condition got worse. And so to step away for 3 or 4 hours, got to be a challenge. But she hung in there. And it worked out quite well for me. So I could, like I say, free myself up. And a couple of months a year, we'd do back-to-back plays, for example.
Yeah.
Like I'm in Bye Bye Birdie this month. Been rehearsing since August, September. Started rehearsing in August for Ghosts and Medians, which is the next play for the Virgin Valley Theater Group.
Oh, okay. So that's already been cast. And
Yep.
You're already
and we've been
working on
rehearsing for that one as well. So I'm kind of doing double duty right now, trying to learn both parts, both characters, or characters, as I am in the different plays.
Is Bye Bye Birdie easier now? I know, but to learn your lines, because I know talking with poets. I talked with one poet from, she lives on a ranch up in Oregon, and she says that she'll often sing her poems to learn them, so when she goes to recite the poems, then she can recite. But she said singing is easier to remember.
Yo, I never thought of it that way. I found it challenging, especially as I've gotten older, since I started becoming heavily involved in community theater, for example, trying to get my lines down. So I just go through different methods of trying to remember stuff, and I've learned from some of the other actors that had theater education, whether college or even high school. I didn't act when I was in high school, or college. So,
isn't it funny how we find things in our later years? That tickle our fancy. And
exactly. So anyway, I picked those things up, and I've never thought about singing because I love singing. And I love dancing as well. Another thing I'm pretty good at. Not bragging, but...
Do you go to the Casa a lot?
Casa, I go to Mad Mike's, I go over to the Elks Club. I really like line dancing, swing, country dance, swing, two-step, waltz. Anyway, so I really enjoy dancing.
Oh, that's fabulous.
Yeah. For example, when I first moved here, I was doing line dancing at the center, and then with back trouble, it got to be an issue, but I continued to enjoy dancing anyway. So dating myself, but back in the day when American Bandstand and Soul Train would come on, you had to get up and dance to learn the moves, kind of deal. So
it's amazing that this small town, I mean, we're just talking about dancing, and you ran off 5 or 6 places where you can dance.
Yeah.
People who might think, oh, Mesquite has nothing. Well, just dancing.
Even I sometimes even go down to Vegas. If I'm in the area, I know exactly what casino or what hotel has line dancing, and so I'll pick it up and go check it out.
Oh, that's fabulous. Let's go back.
Okay. Way back.
When William was 6 years old, I mean, when Bill was 6 years old,
oh my goodness,
you weren't in plays.
No, gosh.
What were you doing?
Oh, I grew up in St. Louis.
Yeah.
As we called it in those days, the hood. It eventually became known as, we called it the ghetto. And so I was just a typical kid watching TV, and my father and mother said, hey, you need to get out. So they literally had to kick us out of the house.
Yeah.
My brother, my sister, and said, you guys need to get out of the house. So I hit the streets and got involved in just a typical kind of things. Ended up in a wannabe gang member, which wasn't my style because I was raised kind of in the church. And so that kind of a conflict between running the streets and breaking windows and throwing stuff off the buildings kind of stuff was a bad rap for me. But, I survived that. When I hit high school, it's like, you know what? You guys are moving up into breaking into stores and stealing. It's like, that's not me. So, and I was my 5th, 6th, and 7th, 8th grade, I actually was part of the St. Louis School District system busing to provide, equal opportunities.
Oh, okay.
So it got part of that. So I was bused from the inner city over to the south side, of St. Louis, and got introduced to a variety of different kind of educational programs. Kind of deal. But my big interest in theater really didn't come until I joined the military in 1969 when I was enlisted and Vietnam was going on. And so, the military has certain celebrations. And so when Black History would roll around in January and February because of Martin Luther King, or in February during Black History Month, then I would, for some reason, be stereotyped and say, hey, we need somebody to do the Martin Luther King I Have a Dream. That kind of started.
Oh, you did that?
Oh, yeah.
Did you really?
Oh, yeah. And so naturally I studied, the speech and the inflection and the tone and the emphasis kind of deal. So that's kind of how really was I guess the seed was planted when I would do that. And I mean, I even did it when I got stationed in Utah. A friend of mine was a teacher, and he said, hey, we're going to be celebrating, Black History Month. Do you mind coming and reading a speech of Martin Luther King to introduce it to the community kind of deal? And like I said, I did dinner theater for our church in Utah, and we would start in November rehearsing some kind of play, from whether it was Skid Row, homeless type, to a caravan of the three wise men going across to see the birth of Jesus, that scene, manger scene kind of deal. So I played different roles in that. And like I say, once I retired and could put my whole interest into acting and singing, I did that. So, as a matter of fact, I sung in choirs, the military, at church, and continued everywhere I went. I got stationed, I would either join a choir or some other kind of activity.
Yeah.
So I currently sing on the praise team here at one of the local churches.
Oh, okay.
That's fun as well. So
you stay pretty busy.
Yes. Like I say, right now as one of the writers of the current Ghost of Medians, he goes, we realize you're doing double duty, so you can't always make rehearsals like I can rehearse Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday of this week, but Thursday is a final dress rehearsal or line through, as we call it, to get ready for Friday night's fourth performance, and then 2 on Saturday, the 5th and the 6th. So they realize I can't be there on Thursday and Friday.
Are you the only one who's in both?
Yes. It just happened to be that way. It's like I say, I ended up getting recruited for Bye Bye Birdie because they needed a singer. And my neighbor Mitzi, the president of the Virgin Valley Theater Group, knew I could sing, and she goes, I need your help. Would you please do it?
I'm glad I never sang around her.
I give you another example. I walked in the theater a couple of years ago, back in 2024, and Mitzi goes, there's Bill, he'll do it. And I go, oh my gosh. And so Becky Boyd came over to me, and they were the committee for...
she didn't make you be a showgirl, did she?
No. What she did was... You're right. That's her.
I was worried about with Becky coming over.
Miss Mesquite Senior Pageant.
Yeah.
Beauty pageant. And so she goes, hey, Bill. Hi, Bill. Just turn over.
Yeah, you know what's coming down.
Yeah, exactly. Go, oh, my God. She said, would you do the national anthem? And I go, oh, man, I'm not a strong soloist. So I said, let me think about it. And so I thought about it, and I go, well, it's a challenge. Why don't you try it? So I end up, I have some guys that I sing with in Sun City Sounds and the men's choral group here in town. So I said, Steve and Toby. I said, Toby, and Steve, would you guys give me a hand? So we did it. We did the national anthem for 2024, and then again in 2025 for the Miss Senior Mesquite pageant.
Oh, well, I saw you do it then, yeah.
Yeah.
That was at the high school.
Yes, exactly. So anyway.
So let me ask you, because a lot of people, they have a hard time standing up in front of people. It seems like you did it. Well, you did the Martin Luther King. Was that the first time you had to stand up in front?
Well, that brings back to mind one of the things. I was career-oriented in the military. And so in order to prepare for speech as a leader, as a non-commissioned officer, you have to be prepared. You have to give formal presentations.
Okay.
You have to do briefings. You have to stand in front of your troops and deliver something, the message or the mission or whatever. So that's kind of why I did Toastmasters to learn how to do public speaking.
Good day, Artbox listeners. Addie here, your faithful research assistant from Down Under, breaking in with a little side note about something you might have heard of, Toastmasters. No, it's not a club where you sit around buttering sourdough all night, though honestly, I'd join that too. Toastmasters is actually an international organization that helps people become more confident speakers and leaders. Members meet regularly in small, supportive groups where they practice giving speeches, leading meetings, and even thinking on their feet with short impromptu talks called table topics. It's all about building confidence, polishing your delivery, and learning to communicate clearly, skills that are brilliant whether you're pitching an idea, telling a story, or just giving a wedding toast. So, next time you hear someone say they are a Toastmaster, Give Em a nod. They are putting in the work to make public speaking less scary and a lot more fun. Great chat going on here, Bill and Steve. Steve is always telling me what a great actor Bill is, and I know he is happy to finally get him on the art box. Addie, over and out.
But then I always would break out in a sweat and get nervous, so the acting complemented that in some way, aspect. So that kind of kept me skilled in being prepared to stand up in front of people and give military briefings. So that's kind of what led me into that as well.
Is opening night, you were talking about being nervous. Are you more nervous opening night?
Oh, yeah. For Bye Bye Birdie, for example, opening night was the 12th. And so naturally, I didn't have a big role. The singing aspect of it was where I really had some challenges in terms of nerves. But once I get on stage, I just push through it and do the best I can. Hopefully I'm prepared, and if it's a dynamic director, as I've always had in the shows, the director pushes us enough and had vocal coaching from Mitzi, as well as some choreography for Bye Bye Birdie, for example, then it all works together. So we got prepared. When I get in front of people, because I have one big scene, I have 3 roles in Bye Bye Birdie. And so the one big role I have, where singing and having to deliver the lines, I had to be prepared. So it's coming off well. But when I get out there, I guarantee you with the lights on, I break out in a slight sweat. Not a lot, but nerves kick in gear. So that nervousness does kick in a little bit, but I can work through it because, like I say, I've done enough of these now, especially where I have to stand in the very front of the stage. And so I'm only, like one play, I remember you sitting either at the very front row. That's
where I always try to sit.
Off to the right, stage left, for example, sit right there. And so, people can...
I always kind of wonder, am I going to have to catch somebody?
Yeah.
So I wasn't there the night the joy fell off.
Yeah. I remember that. But to give you an example, a dinner theater, it was Easter time. And so I played the thief on the right as Jesus was crucified. So there I am in the typical era attire. And there I am, because you don't wear a shirt, there I am on the cross. And I started dripping.
Okay.
I'm dripping. I'm serious because of the lights, and I'm dripping down on the musician because I was nervous because I was hanging on the cross, even though my hands were in like a clothes rack hook, where you would hang your coat on.
Yeah.
My hands was in that as if that I was nailed to the cross, but I can remember first fire. It was like crazy. It was crazy, but it was great. It was great.
And the violinist looks there. Wait a minute, dead people don't sweat.
Because I had to deliver that line. No, he did nothing wrong. Will I be with you in heaven? Kind of deal. That famous line. And then So it was great. But that's one where nerves really kicked in.
Oh, I'll bet.
But other than that, especially if I'm dressed for the role, it works out well.
How about, I hate to ask this, maybe I don't hate to ask this, how about a horror story?
No.
You never forgot a line, have you?
Oh, yes. I've forgotten lines. With a great director or cast members, they help you through that. So I've learned how to work through it.
I've seen a little bit of that.
Yeah,
you can tell.
Yeah, so that the actors...
Not from you, but...
so that the actors support each other. But because of my position in the military, for example, and I was at a major headquarters in Germany, and so they said, you're going to be the equal opportunity non-commissioned officer. So I had to deal with any equal opportunity issue that came up, from sexual harassment to abuse to all those kind of things. And so I ended up having to go on TV, Armed Forces Radio Television Network. And I went with my lieutenant, who was the equal opportunity officer, and I was a non-commissioned officer in charge of the whole battalion of 500 people, for example. And so we had to present what we did for our position. And, by the way, we're having a Black History program. and it's going to be a talent show, blah, blah, blah. And so we kind of explained. That's the real reason we were there, because I was either emceeing that program or I was acting in it, or doing both kind of deal. So, but that was the story. That was
I guess
the drive to the TV station, kind of similar to this. You've been interviewed, but you're on Armed Forces Radio, going out.
And it was live.
Over Europe, live, exactly. I guess one funny story was when I played the slave or servant of a wise man, and so I had to wear an earring, and I was in I was almost like a gypsy outfit with the nylon silk, gold silk pants.
Yeah.
And a little toupee and everything else. That was funny. And I guess another one was I had to sing a solo because it was a homeless shelter scene, and I had to sing Swing Low,
okay,
Sweet Chariot. And I was like I said, I didn't consider myself a soloist. And this was probably, oh my gosh, 25 years ago. And I did okay. I was a little nervous, but I did okay. I mean, the show went on, and it turned out great, But it was those two funny situations, though, kind of worked me up.
I bet you're pretty excited or pretty happy with yourself when you got through it.
Yes. Oh, yes. Yes. More than excited.
Want to tell us about Bye Bye Birdie?
Bye Bye Birdie is the version, the one with, like I say, Bye Bye Birdie with Dick Van Dyke, Anne Margaret, and Janet Leigh. And so we're doing, we have some of the scenes from Bye Bye Birdie, but, this Conrad is this nice-looking musical guy, and all the girls in the United States are crazy about him. And so he's going off to war. He's been enlisted in the military, rather. They are getting ready for him to leave. And so there's some conflict, typically. I mean, the girl that gets selected to be the one American girl that kissed Conrad, or Conrad kisses her before he goes off. She has a boyfriend, she gets pinned, or they become steady. So that whole...
God, I haven't seen that and heard that in a while.
Yeah. And so, if you remember, matter of fact, I just downloaded the movie so I could look at what I wanted to do in my roles. But Anne Margaret's, was there singing, "We love you, Conrad. Oh, yes, we do. We love you, Conrad, and I'll be blue." Anyway, so the teenagers, this is the first time I've worked with a large cast of teenagers, and there is a lot of talent in this show from the teenagers. So it was just a joy for me to see these young people. I've worked with the guy that's playing Albert, for example. I've sung with him with Sun City Sounds at the high school when we were backing up, accompanying the high school drama team and musical department. So I was familiar with him as well, but it's a dynamic show. But anyway, it deals with Conrad going off, and we all have different things going on with him taking off the city of Sweetwater, Ohio. So really looking forward to it. We've already had 3 performances, Friday night at 7 on the 12th, and then on 13th at 2 p.m. and 7 p.m. So this weekend, the 19th, Friday, we have one show at 7 p.m., and then the 20th on Saturday, we have a 2 p.m. and a 7 p.m.
Okay, that's good. So
each audience, and each audience is different. Some nights you have a lot of people that just don't get into it, and other nights they really get into it, kind of deal. Especially with all the teenagers. It's just like going to a graduation, a class graduation. Everybody's got to cheer their son or daughter.
Oh, yeah.
So you've got that, ah! But it's, so far it's been a wonderful experience with the audience and the audience reaction to all the number of songs we do. Because some of the songs are dynamite.
And I've only heard rave reviews about it.
Well, good.
And I'll be there Friday night, and I would suggest all of our listeners to get out. I do got to ask you one more question.
Sure.
You brought it up, but the differences in audiences, how does that affect the play?
It depends. If you're comfortable with your character, you know what you're doing. For example, since we've already done 3 shows, so everybody is pretty confident in their roles and the character. But you feed off the audience.
Yeah.
If the audience needs more energy, then you bump it up a little bit to sing louder, better, act stronger, deliver your lines stronger, to try to get a positive response, so that when the audience claps or cheers, you have to wait until the cheer or the laughter dies down before you deliver your line again.
Okay.
You know, so if the audience is just sitting there, you kind of, oh man, am I messing up? So when the audience really gets into it, it's just like a baseball game in the stadium or a football game, a sporting event. If the audience cheers you on, kind of stuff, it just motivates you more to do better and keep striving for perfection. So that's kind of overall a view of the different audiences.
Yeah, I try to remember back, and I love the melodrama so much, but I could, Bob Craig,
Yep.
he plays, and he would deliver a line in the melodramas that wouldn't get much of a response from the audience, and he would deliver the line again.
Yep. and then
he'd be, if he had to.
Yeah, as a matter of fact, he'd kind of solicit, oh, come on, folks. Come on, you heard that. That's a joke. Laugh. Yeah. I remember he doing that, yes.
Yeah, and I'm not thinking much until now, but whoever had the line after him then has to adjust.
Yes, exactly.
Okay, because he's going to wait for that to happen.
Yeah, especially if the audience is laughing.
Yeah.
And you trying to stay in character, and you're not supposed to be laughing, let's say, because your response may be a little bit different. But it's hard to break character, you know.
Yeah.
Especially after a joke like that happens. Oh, come on, audience. Let's get with it, you know.
Well, Bill, this has been great. I really appreciate you coming in. And hopefully we'll see everybody out there this weekend. And if not, the next play is
Ghosts and Medians. The second and third weekends of October.
Okay. Boy, that's boom, boom, isn't it?
Yep. It's a great kickoff for Halloween season.
Yeah.
Because it deals with ghosts and mediums.
Oh, that's great.
Yes.
Okay, I can hardly wait to see that.
All right.
Well, Bill, thanks again.
Oh, thank you.
And
My pleasure.
And break a leg or something like that.
Yeah, okay, I will.
Broadcasting from the Mesquite Works Steam Center in the scenic Mojave Desert, the Art Box sponsors thank you for listening. You can find us on Spotify, Samsung, iHeartRadio, Podchaser, and Amazon Music. Please subscribe so you don't miss an episode. We are on Facebook and Instagram as The Art Box. We welcome all comments. You can email us at artboxvv@gmail.com. The views and opinions expressed on this podcast are those of its hosts and guests and do not necessarily reflect those of our sponsors.